Hi, this is Jesse with Liberty Roof Works, and on this episode of How Your Roof Works, we're going to take an in-depth look at EPDM roofing. EPDM is a rubber roofing. It's designed for roofs that are flat. If we've got a little bit of slope, we can use mod bit, but when you're perfectly flat, you've got to use a membrane because you're going to have standing water. You're going to have water sitting on seams day after day, week after week. It's got to be impervious. Now, the roof that we're repairing today had numerous problems with the original installation, but also subsequent repair attempts that took place years later, unfortunately, only compounded those problems. To start with, the original roof was installed without any cover tape whatsoever. Also, at the roof-to-wall intersection, there was no attempt made to integrate the wall with the roof. Furthermore, the original EPDM was never bonded to the roof. There was no glue applied, so that expansion and contraction was significant. Later years, siding was added to the house. Siding contractor probably was aware there was a leak there and said, hey, I can help you out. Whoever owned the home at that time, they took ice and water, put it behind the siding, and ran it out on top of the roof. Well, the problem with ice and water is it's asphalt-based. Rubber and asphalt don't play well together. They don't expand and contract at the same rate. So because the roof and the wall were never integrated properly, there was always a small gap. Mice found their way into the house, chewed through the insulation, even chewed a hole through the OSB decking in the roof, created a nest inside of there. There's leaks, there's animals inside. The repair attempts that were made before don't work. And a lot of times what we find is roofers that do flat roofs are familiar with commercial roofing applications. Residential contractors typically work with shingles. You know, those are your guys that do your roofing, siding, and windows. And 9 times out of 10, neither one does well in the other area. Here at Liberty, we've experienced both commercial and residential. So the first thing we have to do is remove the existing roof. We're gonna take out that insulation, and you can see where the mice had chewed through that. Then we get down to the decking where there's the wood rot issue where the leak existed. There's a giant hole in it, so we've got to take that out. We got to replace and rebuild back up to deck level. And what we did is put a recovery board down with screws and plates. And on top of that, we're going to put our EPDM fully bonded. So we're applying glue and then fully gluing that down, fully adhered, so that it's got much more adhesion. It's not going to expand and contract as much. Going to get a lot more longevity out of this roof. We're then putting seam tape in where we've got a seam, cleaning the membrane with membrane cleaner. We're applying a primer. Then we're putting the inseam tape in to fuse those two sections together. On top of that, around the perimeter, we're putting in brand new drip edge along the gutters and along this roof-to-wall abutment where you've got shingles and EPDM coming together. Of course, along the wall, we're running our EPDM up the wall. We're going to put that siding back in place so that we never have any problems there. And where the boxing comes down, the soffit and the fascia, that's the area that was never addressed properly to begin with. That's where the massive problem was with the leak and mice getting in. We're building a custom metal flashing and an assembly to transition from the wall to the boxing to the roof to give that solidarity so water can never get in there. We're reflashing the chimney. Of course, we've got to integrate this EPDM with the brick, and we've got to put a counter flash on. We're going to cut that into the brick, recess it so we're not just relying on metal pressed against brick and a caulk joint. We're going to return that metal into the brick so that water can never get behind that. Holistically, this solution addresses all of the problems. Might cost a little bit more in the long run to do it right, but you know, you're not gonna have problems down the road. You can rest assured knowing that it's done properly and it's gonna last for years to come. If you'd like to learn more, check us out online at libertyroofworks.com or call us today.